Time for Talk Talkers. As you can see, the investigation continues into Monday's blasts in Boston during the Boston Marathon. Investigators are combing the area now, collecting data, collecting any sort of remnants of what were supposedly two bombs that went off. Both used pressure cookers in those blasts, believe it or not, with nails and ball bearings inside them. One of the things that happens when a disaster like this strikes, especially with a crowd like that was at the Boston Marathon, is you want to get in touch with loved ones. I know people here in Ottawa were doing that. I know people in Boston were doing that, trying to find out if their loved ones, people involved or at the race, were safe. Today we're going to talk about the effects of social media when it comes to an event like this. Joining us this morning on our panel, Carson is here from Bob FM. How are you?
Good morning, Kurt.
Also, Leanne Cusack here from CTV News at noon. Good day. And oh, look, it's Lianne. Listen, you know, we've sat on this panel before and had lots of discussions about the ill effects of social media, the negative aspects of social media. I think in a case like this, the positive aspects of social media have come shining through.
Yeah, there's usually a case in these scenarios where there's a rush to be first and being right is kind of secondary. But when everything went to hell, and literally for people that were there, that was hell on earth right there. It was, for a lot of people, I felt it was kind of like a comfort area. It was a way to keep up to date on what was happening.
Right.
And you're getting it from first. It's not like it was running through a filter in the news agency where it comes through the reporter and then on to the public.
Right.
You're getting raw, real data.
The fact of the matter is, it seems, Leanne, that social media is now faster than any other way to get information, be it about the event itself or about an individual you're looking for or what have you.
And how to reunite people and where people should go for emergency information. It was quite amazing how Twitter really did sort of, you know, provide a sense of peace amidst the chaos, because officials were able to sort of communicate with people very, very quickly as to where to go. They were able to reconnect people as well. It was incredibly powerful. It was just sort of an amplification of all of the small acts of kindness and the huge acts of heroism.
And we saw all this happen, Leanne, when cell phone service is unavailable to people because it's so busy with people trying to get on the phones. But when you're using Twitter, Facebook, it doesn't have that sort of impact.
And
right?
I think, and that's what a lot of people were saying, was allowing them to find their loved ones or to be able to connect with someone who had access to, you know, there was people that were saying that they were stranded at the finish line. They had no idea where their family was, and then people were coming through, and they're like, I have no phone, I don't know how to get in hold of people, and the other people were saying, okay, I'm trying to track, let me know who your people are, I'll head to their pages, and then people were being reunited that way. I do want to say one thing, and I think people need to be incredibly careful, and especially for us in the media, when we're retweeting and when we're looking at things, we have to be very careful that it is in fact factual. And I do find that sometimes they'll you know, people want to feel and they want to express how they're feeling about the situation. But there was a situation when we already knew that there was the young death of the boy, and yet there was a picture that was circulating of a young girl running,
right.
And that it was Pray for Boston, and it was saying that this child was the one that had perished, and they were running for all of the victims of the Sandy Hook Elementary School. And it's then when you want to say to people, wait a second though, I know that everyone wants to get involved and show their emotional support in the tragedy, but be careful as to what it is you're reading from certain things when you're retweeting and getting that out, because sometimes people are trying to make a different mention of the situation. And that was the one thing I did notice. I was like, why was someone doing that? Right.
And those are the things that can go wrong in a situation like this, I think, when, you know, all the facts are not immediately available no matter what it is. But that's the danger of Twitter, for example, is once something gets started like that, it's tough to stop it.
Well, I mean, look at just moments after it happened. The parasites were online and they were starting that retweet, and every retweet for Boston gets $1, and it just you got to wonder what, first of all, the mental makeup of the people that were responsible for this, whether it was international and whether it was domestic. It was still a form of terrorism. But is that not, by creating these kind of things online, is that not a form of terrorism as well, an online form of terrorism? Because you've got people that in these instances we want to do what we feel is right as human beings, which is try to support and try to find a way. And we're here in Ottawa, and that's in Boston. You know, if it happened here in Ottawa, would we approach things differently? Would we be first? Because we're in the media, and we're always, you know, it's always about trying to be the first and trying to get it. But again, like I said earlier, Leanne touched it perfectly. Just stop for a couple seconds and find out, is this factual? Is this right? Because you could do more damage with misinformation than you can with actual information.
Yeah, the dangers of retweeting. Yeah.
And this isn't necessarily talking about social media, but this is talking about technology and how technology is going to play such a role in piecing this all together.
Absolutely.
There will be thousands and thousands of hours of people's individual cell phone camera video and all the rest. And in fact, at Logan, they were asking anyone who was boarding an international flight yesterday, do you have any stills? Do you have any footage of the marathon? And they were downloading it immediately before people boarded the planes.
I feel encouraged, though, that likely they will probably come up with something or string together so many different places where people were taking video and match them all together, though, and they will get a much better idea of, and that's the beautiful aspect, I think, of this. Unfortunately, you know, that it will likely take something like that, but it is now available to those people. I mean, it's going to be thousands upon thousands of hours of them.
And you have to be careful with context as well, because right now one of the big things online is the picture of the guy that's on the roof.
Yes.
And that apparently for the conspiracy theorists is setting everybody like, you don't know the context. It could be a guy that was just up there, you know, plugging in something or working on a fan or some exhaust system. He had no idea.
Live or work in that building and went up to see exactly what's going on, and that's a good place to get a view of it, right? So, in the meantime, you know, using social media, be it Twitter, Facebook. I know lots of people have been reunited by Facebook in this situation, and the video and so on is going to help in this situation, ultimately. And I tell you what, Boston police have promised that they will go frame by frame through every piece of that video provided by people who were at the scene. The investigation does continue today, and hopefully we'll find out more about the people behind this incident. Thanks for joining us today. Good to have you.